Good evening, everybody. We are going to be here tonight, July 21st, for a short mini episode of Rise Up Market Watch. And I hope you guys can hear this. Rise Up Market Watch. I hope you guys heard that, and it wasn't me just moving my head around. It'll be really fucking funny, though, if I watch this afterwards and there's just total silence. Now, Doug, sadly, not going to be able to join us tonight. He says it's Elon Musk's fault. And I was like, wait, what? Apparently Doge cut the customer he was visiting or something. And anyway, there's going to be an interesting story. Somehow it's Doge's fault as to why he's not here. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out when Von gets back. So in the meantime, tonight, we'll take a look at a high five. I know, no Doug boo. I know Moist Mike. I know everyone's comment of interesting. Oh, wait, am I still learning Elliott wave theory? It's not in my bag. That's a fantastic question. For those of you who are unaware, on my previous TikTok account, I was spending a little bit more time on Elliott wave theory. For those of you who are unaware, it is the theory that price moves in waves of 5. And I see a bunch of people on TikTok right now talking about Elliott wave theory again. And it's interesting, just kind of like one influencer starts talking about one little thing and then kind of grab and carry on. But it's the idea that price moves in 5 waves, a wave up, a wave 2, that's a corrective wave, a wave 3, that's your longest wave, a corrective wave, and a 5th and final wave. Each of those waves are comprised of 5 mini waves. Let me pull up a quick black chart, but I am not really putting a whole lot of attention into Elliott wave theory anymore, simply because for me, I started trying to learn Elliott wave theory in my initial beginnings of my journey with trying to learn technical analysis. And, I started learning, okay, stochastic RSI, MACD. Okay, I'm kind of getting this. I'm kind of understanding these little candle patterns and stuff. And one of the most famous traders at the time, and still is a guy on Twitter by the name of Philicone, and he's on YouTube as well. He's a bit of a character, but he's a little rough around the edges, but he's very, very good. And he was the #1 trader on Binance for like a number of years. Anyway, he loved Elliott wave theory. And I was like, okay, this guy's really good at this. Let me try to do it. And I just couldn't really make it work for me. So I've tried on and off over the years. I just can't really make it work. It's not for me. That's not me throwing shade at technical analysis. It's not me throwing shade at Elliott wave theory in any way, shape, or form. Because some people who are phenomenal traders make a crap ton of money using it. It just doesn't really work for me. I just can't grasp it. I don't see it naturally on the chart, even though I can see it now. And you'll experience that as well, depending on where you're at on your journey of learning technical analysis. You're going to learn about all these different. You're going to learn about Wyckoff. You're going to learn about candle patterns. I love trading wedges and consolidation triangles. You're going to hear about Elliott wave theory. You're going to hear all these things. And my advice to you is definitely go and practice with all of them. But there's going to be things that you jive with and things that you don't jive with, just like anything in life, right? There's a whole bunch of different styles to kind of play this game. For those of you who are still confused as to what the hell I'm talking about with Elliott wave theory, let me share my screen really quickly. And for those of you on TikTok, I will show it to you as well in a second. I'm just drawing this in real time. So it is the idea that, actually, wait, there's a tool here specifically for Elliott wave theory, which if you are on tradingview.com, here we go. You can go to your tool section, find the Elliott impulse waves up. You have your wave 1, your wave 2, which is a corrective wave that does something like that. Wave 3 is your longest, wave 4 into wave 5. So for those of you on TikTok, you jive turkey. Let's see. Let me flip this camera here so the folks on TikTok can see as well. That's your Elliott wave theory. Your wave 1, your wave 2, your wave 3. That's always your longest, your wave 4, and your wave 5. And then within that, you have, 3 waves as well. And then you have an A, a B, and a C correction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an A, a B, a C, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Very, very messy, but you guys get the gist. And the thing is, I have a hard time being a successful trader using this. But the people who are successful, they'll use this to just trade, maybe the wave, like this wave 3 to 4. They'll short that wave 3 to 4 because they feel pretty confident that, hey, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave pattern here. I think a 3 and a 4 is going to come naturally. It's a good time to short the market. And that's the only part of this pattern that they'll trade. Everyone kind of has their own little strategy to it. For me, I just haven't been able to get it to work. So anyway, I will just use that. If you find something that doesn't work for you too, just like Elliott Wave doesn't really work for me, I will still use it to be a little bit of evidence in what I'm seeing on the charts to try to dictate, is the price going to go up or is it going to go down? If I see, a clear 5-wave pattern and it's, clearly printing like it's an Elliott Wave, I will add that into my analysis to dictate as to, where the price is going to go or not. What I've been using more so recently, that actually someone had been commenting, a longtime commenter on my TikToks, I think it's Doug Buddington, I think is his name. He's been very critical of me in the past, but also very supportive as well. He's a great follower. And I appreciate him because he keeps me honest on a lot of stuff. And he's like, hey, dude, you should be taking a look at XYZ as well. And one of those things is the Bitcoin liquidity heat map. I'll share my screen again, those of you who are unaware, because the Bitcoin liquidity heat map, it looks like this. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's a very bright screen. For those of you who are on TikTok, you're probably gonna be very familiar with me showing this in the morning update videos. But it looks something like this heat map. And where the price is brightest, it is where the most amount of leveraged positions will be liquidated. And so the reason why that is incredibly useful as a tool to you as a trader is it tells you in which directions the whales and the centralized exchanges want to drive the market for them to make the most amount of money. Because who profits when positions get liquidated? Whales and centralized exchanges directly, right? Whales can profit off it because they're the ones who can most directly change the direction of the market, right? They're the ones who then force the liquidations. Centralized exchanges then profit off of that. Liquidity is kind of split between the two. So I started adding this to my analysis, and I was like, oh, damn, this is really, why wasn't I using this from the start? Because the market's going to go where the money is, right? The whales and the market drivers are going to push towards those pockets of liquidity to squeeze, flip, make their money, and then allow the market to do whatever it wants to do. And since we've been adding this in, our morning updates and our predictions for myself, they've been far more accurate. We've been calling Bitcoin to consolidate here and go down to about 114,000 or so and start to find some support because the biggest chunk of money is right here, along with there being a gap on the chart. Shane, if you are looking for the YouTube, for anybody who's on the TikTok and wants to see the big screen, because it is a better experience, it's a better watching experience. It is the Rise Up Morning Show. We are on YouTube. We are also on Twitter. We are also on Twitter. It's called Rums HQ. So yeah. Oh God. All right, Casey. Hey, I'm not trying to brag, but I got William Watson following me on 80 different accounts. I'm sorry, brother. Hey, is that my old William Watson account or is that the new one? Yeah. Also, comment from Crypto, a quick question from Twitter was, is that CoinGlass? Yes, that Bitcoin liquidity heat map was from CoinGlass. CoinGlass is the most accurate of the Bitcoin liquidity heat maps. The reason why is it tracks Binance. Binance is the largest centralized exchange futures leverage market in the world. Okay, so it will dictate, just kind of like if you're looking at the traditional market or you're looking at Bitcoin and you want to see where gaps are on Bitcoin or on Ethereum or on Solana, you shouldn't look at any other chart other than the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, because that is the largest one in the world. It's the one that dictates it. That's why you want to look at CoinGlass. CoinGlass gives you Binance, therefore it's the most accurate depiction of Bitcoin liquidity out there. If you are on TradingView, however, you can add it to your chart. I don't though, because it's not very accurate. But if you were to come over to Bitcoin here, and let me just clean this up because it's a little messy. Let's see. I always do it on my phone. Indicators. If you type in HTV, Oh, wait, no. Hang on a second. It's been so long. Liquidity heat map. HTF? Oh my god. LTF? Liquidity heat map, LTF? Hang on, it says it's loading. Anyway, I thought it was HTF. Can someone correct me? Hi, Lord Sir William the Fifth over here. You have to say Twitter like that from now on, Master William. I'm the fourth, actually. My name is William Harrison Wilson the Fourth. But anyway, I couldn't remember the heat map liquidity indicator on TradingView. It's there. It's just not as accurate, so I wouldn't use it. If you want it on your chart, you can put it there. Alex, I saw your comment on TikTok. Where is Von Von? Von Von he was going to be at a hotel, and he was going to be at a work office near the hotel and use that Wi-Fi. But the only explanation I got from Doug is, dude, we have to change hotels, and it's Elon Musk's fault. I was like, what do you mean it's Elon Musk's fault? And he goes, it's because of the Doge cuts. Anyway, I'll tell you later. And then he's been gone. And I was just like, all right, man, fuck, shit. Doge cuts, damn. Apparently they cut his hotel. All Bitcoin money moves to Ethereum, comment from Jill. That does want me to talk about that how money flows in the crypto space is very, very different now as compared to, 3-4 years ago, ever since the ETF went live in 2023. So I am going to stick to my guns. I don't think we really have an altcoin season. I think we have really big altcoin rallies. We've been calling this altcoin rally, and I think we're near kind of the end of it, at least in the short term. I'll pull up that chart in a second. But the reason why there's not going to be as much money going from Bitcoin into altcoins is because of the ETFs. The ETFs make it much harder for gains in Bitcoin to then flow into all of the other altcoins. Because if you were to take gains from the Bitcoin ETF, you have to, tell your BlackRock sales rep or your Fidelity sales rep, hey, sell. Then you get the cash. That takes time to settle. Then you send it to your bank account. That takes time to settle. Then you go from the bank account to Coinbase or Kraken or Binance or what have you. That could be instant. Maybe it takes a couple of days. Also, it's a little bit more painful, right? You could sell at BlackRock and Fidelity and then buy the Ethereum ETF or the Solana ETF when that spot ETF becomes available. But then you see the amount of options that there is for that liquidity to easily flow into other crypto assets is way more limited than it was in the past. That's why ever since the ETF went live at the end of 2023, we've had altcoin rallies, but the altcoin season, it didn't start. In all of the other 4-year cycle opportunities, the altcoin season started, I think it was either 9 months after the halving or it was 13 months after the halving. And then it would last for a very, very, very long period of time. Maybe it was a little bit less. By the way, it started like 6 or 9 months after the halving. Would typically last something like 9 months or so, where you just saw Bitcoin dominance falling like a rock. Altcoins were just erupting everywhere, no matter what the hell you owned. And that was the altcoin season. It was a beautiful, magical time. But now you won't have that flood of liquidity. What's going to happen is you're going to have staking get turned on for the Ethereum ETF. Then you're going to have a spot staking ETF turned on for Solana, available from a BlackRock or a Fidelity, like people who actually have volume, not this crappy, shitty product that we have out now by whatever the hell the name of that company is. No one cares. But then you're going to have money flood into those ETFs, but it's going to be hard for that money to trickle into other altcoins in that ecosystem. What will happen is the Solana and the Ethereum that is already on chain will be worth more. And as that gets swapped into other altcoins within those ecosystems, those altcoins will have like a mini altcoin season from what we used to experience in the past. And I say mini because, again, that liquidity that's going into the ETFs is, air quotes, stuck in the ETFs. It's not really stuck, but there's a few more hoops to jump through. So it's going to be much harder for money to flow out of coins that have ETF products into altcoins. So expect shorter altcoin seasons, expect less gains, unless, of course, that altcoin of yours also were to get an ETF product one day. The odds of that, slim to none. Or if it does get it, it's going to be a part of a big basket of altcoins. And the odds of that performing well enough to garner more attention, more demand, and more liquidity going into it? Probably not very high. It is very common for new ETF products to be released, and then 6 months later, they're thrown in the trash can. If you want to see a few examples of that, go and take a look at some examples of precious jewels ETFs. Wildly spectacular failures, which is interesting because, a diamond is forever. Now, comment on YouTube from Borko Rostovic. Are you still bullish on virtuals? Yeah, I still have a position on virtuals. Those of you who don't know what virtuals protocol is, first of all, disclosure, I have a 6-figure position in virtuals. So maybe I'm potentially biased, but this is why I'm like it. This is my thought process behind it. Virtuals protocol is a platform where you can build AI agents off of it. It's within the base ecosystem, which is the layer 2. I mean, there are a lot more layer 2s. Polygon's great, Optimism's great, Arbitrum's great, but base is the most popular one right now with the most growth. And Virtuals protocol is the AI agent platform on base. It also hasn't been listed on Coinbase yet, so I'm excited for it to eventually get listed on Coinbase. And with Ethereum going up, coins within Ethereum's ecosystem stand to gain quite a bit of traction. AI agents are super hot. Coins on base are hot. Coins that haven't been listed on Coinbase yet have an opportunity to really explode when or if that happens. Nothing's guaranteed. And yeah, so I'm still bullish on Virtuals protocol. Even if we take like a dip here, I'm sure Virtuals will do just fine. But this does remind me, I wanted to pull up the Bitcoin dominance chart. So let me share my screen here on YouTube and Twitter, because we might be getting close to the end of this altcoin rally. We might still have another full percentage point to go, but we'll see. And the folks on TikTok, I will show you as well right now. Oh, sorry. I just realized I was missing 34 comments from you guys. I was wondering, I was like, oh man, it's pretty quiet over here. So I apologize if I missed your comment, but let me share my screen so we don't lose anything here. So this is Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame. We're currently at 60.5%. Also, yes, Retro, we are on YouTube right now and on Twitter. And I believe we're on Facebook as well. And by we, I mean, I have been calling for the altcoin rally ever since we got our first short signal here, continuation down to these 2 lines. Now, let me clean up this chart a little bit. What are these 2 lines? Let's just get a macro view. It's always good to get a long-term view of the assets that you're looking to trade. And this is the Bitcoin dominance chart going all the way back to 2022. This is 3 years that Bitcoin dominance has been in this channel. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin dominance has to stay in this channel. There is a possibility we could break out of this, right? And have a much, much, much bigger, altcoin season kind of moment. It's possible, even though I don't necessarily believe it, but it's totally, totally, totally possible. But because these lines of resistance are 3 years old, they should be very, very, very strong, right? So we would most likely expect some sort of a bounce here at, that's 60%. Or, if we were to fall like a rock down at this line at 59.2%, right? It's going to be one or the other, or potentially even both. And so when we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, you have to ask yourself, what coins can really make this move? It's Ethereum and it's XRP as the 2 biggest altcoins out there in the space. And so, I saw the question, can it rebound at resistance going back? I mean, it can pop here potentially, then hit some key exponential moving averages and then fall back down further. It could totally happen. Or maybe even we just slice through this yellow line and we get caught here, right? All I'm pointing out is that at 60 and 59%, we have some very, 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 very strong potential areas for Bitcoin dominance to bounce upwards and kind of take a little bit of control again. And when we take a look at Ethereum here, Ethereum, again, if we zoom out on the chart, and you always want to understand kind of what things are happening at a much more macro level. Zoom out here. Let me fix this a little bit. We're at the weekly chart for Ethereum. You can see here, just dropped my phone. You can see here, Ethereum has been consolidating for a very, very, very long period of time. It hasn't even had a bullish breakout of this consolidation pattern. When it does break out of this consolidation pattern, the target, by the way, is $8,000 for Ethereum, but we haven't had that breakout yet. And so this is a pattern that has been building on Ethereum's chart since November of 2021. Because of that, this magenta line should be an incredibly stiff area of resistance. We should expect when we hit this magenta line here on the daily time frame for it to initially act as resistance, right? We shouldn't expect to just blast through it. And you can see on Ethereum's chart, this candle here is a doji candle. It is a candle signaling indecision in the market. And when you have a doji candle like this at the very top of a bull move, typically it's a sign that you are getting close to having a little bit of a pullback. Maybe we'll come up and make contact here, but then having some sort of a correction is probably what I would expect. But, you know, would love to be wrong. It'd be great to just see us continue to pump. But the other thing too that makes me feel like, you know, we'll have a little bit of a pullback there, other than it just kind of making sense, is the relative strength index here. Bright green. This is severely overbought. So we're severely overbought, and we're heading up to resistance that has been here since 2021. You know, it's just like, okay, we could probably have Ethereum, you know, have a little bit of a pullback as it goes up to, you know, $4,000, $3,900. That would result in Bitcoin dominance kind of bumping upwards, right? When we are finding it to, you know, potentially find some support. And also, if we even pull up XRP's chart as well, XRP just finished the bullish breakout target of its consolidation move. I erased it. Damn. However, XRP could go up to $3.80 for another move, but I had it. It was this, and I'll show you all on TikTok in a second. Yeah, it was a descending wedge like this. Show you all. We can take a look at Pengu in a bit. As soon as I finish just letting you guys know what's going on here. So this is XRP, right? The breakout target of this descending wedge is $3.60. It was like $3.50, $3.60. You can see we hit that. We're still getting long signals here. So there's additional resistance up at $3.87. But again, XRP is also very, very, very overbought. So the two altcoins, so, you know, in quick summary, Bitcoin dominance is getting really close. Maybe it has an extra percentage move. But we're at a point now where if you're just like a short-term trader, we're starting to get to a higher risk period where, you know, maybe we're about to take a little bit of a correction. Maybe altcoins are going to sell off and Bitcoin might sell off a little bit. Altcoins will sell off harder. That would result in Bitcoin dominance going up. We see Ethereum getting close to really strong resistance in overbought territory. We see XRP having completed the breakout of its descending wedge move while being overbought as well. Things are definitely more so on the riskier side if you're taking positions right now today. Okay. There could be a little bit more of a move upwards. Sure. Would love it for it to be a big move. That'd be wonderful. But just be aware of that. So that's what I wanted to talk about. They need to cut rates. They don't need to do anything, actually. The U.S. economy is still good, and inflation, while it's going up, is less than expectations. And PPI inflation came in great. So remember, rate cuts aren't for the stock market. Rate cuts are for the health of the U.S. dollar and for the health of the U.S. labor market. Don't care about the stock market. That's like a distant third. And I did want to show one other chart, and then some people were saying take a look at Pengu, so we'll do that just because Pengu's silly. But I also wanted to talk about gold for a moment here, because what gold does, Bitcoin has been following recently. The gold chart and the Bitcoin chart look supremely similar to one another. It's just that gold acts first. So let me share my screen here again. At this point, I should just keep sharing my screen and just not take it down. So what we have here is gold on the weekly time frame. let me show you guys here as well on the tiki-taki. I always hit the wrong button first. So this is the weekly chart here for gold, right? And if you take a look at Bitcoin's chart, we have started a consolidation phase here. That's kind of slightly to the downside, coming to a bunch of resistance. Gold here has been in this consolidation phase for quite a bit, right? And I believe that Bitcoin's pretty much just going to copy this pattern. Now, on the weekly time frame, gold is at a bit of a junction, right? Either this week or next week, it needs to make a very, very important move, either to the upside and break out of this, or to the downside and have a little bit of a correction. And if we go to the daily chart and we start to pull up some of our indicators, we can see that the relative strength index for gold is not overbought. However, the momentum is bearish. So, we have bearish momentum in a consolidation pattern. We need to either see a real confident break upwards. Otherwise, if we see a weak break out of this, we might not believe that it's actually going to hold, and we could expect that to break. But if we go back to the weekly chart, what's super exciting is that in this consolidatory phase, the weekly stochastic RSI is in oversold territory. That's a pretty strong buy signal for the most part. But you wouldn't want to buy unless gold broke out of this, held this line, then you'd take a position and try to watch that blast off. The other thing that you want to be looking at as well is the strength of the dollar, because Bitcoin and gold are both going up in large part because the dollar is just kind of shitting the bed. So if you want to do that, you go to the DXY, the US dollar index. And what do we have here? Yeah, the dollar continues to make lower lows, lower highs. It's looking bad. That is a good sign for gold to break out of that pattern bullishly, and for Bitcoin to continue to recover. Even if they were to both slide, because I think Bitcoin should sell off a little bit to at least 114K. Gold could easily sell off a little bit. We saw the bullish momentum is bearish. The bullish momentum, excuse me. The daily momentum on the Moxie indicator was bearish. But with the dollar continuing to fall like this, with tariffs, a desire to increase manufacturing, and a desire to make our debt cheaper, they're going to keep making the dollar weaker. So, I would expect from a macro standpoint, more rallies than corrections in gold and Bitcoin. Now, apologies for not seeing a lot of the comments here as I was going through the charts. Let's take a quick look at Pengu real quick. That was the first comment that I'd seen a little bit ago. And it's funny, I actually haven't looked at the Pengu chart. I own some Pengu, but it's just like gambling money. Let's see. I want more history. Can we get it with USDT on Bybit? That will probably be the best history. Okay. Am I still sharing this on StreamYard? I am not. My apologies. Let's get those over there. Tiny little rubber cock looks nice also. La 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 on TikTok. First of all, that was a really fun name to say. Can you take a look at Solana? I take a look at Solana. Oh, look at this. Bad showmanship. Everybody, if you're on YouTube and Twitter, you just may have thrown up from what you saw. But I do an update on Solana, XRP, and Ethereum every day or every other day on TikTok as a part of the morning market update. I probably won't do it here, but Solana still has a price target of $222. And as of this morning, it had a pretty solid breakout. Yeah. But anyway, taking a look at Pengu here, let's just see. I'm just going to mark a few areas of resistance that we have, and then I'll share with you guys in a second. Let me just see. No, I don't want a long position. I want Fibonacci extension. Actually, I have it right here. Okay, I'm going to use my Fibonacci tool. Let's just see. Does this make sense for resistance? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Bitcoin is trash. Sammy, why do you think that? Because my personal opinion, there's nothing better than it in the crypto space. If you like real estate or gold more, sure, go for it. This is Pengu. Sorry, it's covering my face if you're watching on YouTube. I want to make sure the folks on TikTok can see it. And it's almost like we're trying to build like a gigantic cup and handle pattern. But yeah, Pengu's just been an absolute monster over the past month. It is, as you can see, also incredibly overbought. Very risky to be buying an incredibly overbought meme coin, guys, particularly as it's going to be coming up to some very, very, very strong resistance here. A little bit higher up, we see very strong resistance here at 4.7 cents, basically, from, oop, it's hard with all these cables here, sorry guys, from this previous high right here. Now, Pengu can probably reach it because there's no other coin that has as much of a social presence right now. There's no other coin that has more social presence than Pengu. And that's the most important thing in the space. And people love meme coins because people love gambling. They love get rich quick. And everyone thinks that a meme coin can do it. And only like a quarter of a percent ever do. Pengu happens to be one of them. And then after that, Pengu hitting 4.6 cents is extreme correction period. Like, expect a big correction, probably back down to where it is right now currently at $3.06. That's what I would personally expect, just looking at the ranges of support that we have here on our Fibonacci retracement tool. Could you see a pullback to 2.5 cents area with Pengu? Well, let's see. Where is 2.5 cents? So 2.5 cents is right here. That's exactly on the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. Could we see it? I mean, sure, right? Like, if Bitcoin has a correction, meme coins will correct harder than any other type of coin out there, because that's just what meme coins do, because they don't have like a source of utility for them that raises the floor up higher. Like, you don't have to buy it to pay for gas fees and stuff like that. Could it go there? Sure. If it did, it'd be a hell of a buying opportunity because it's on the 0.5 support level. There's a ton of support here from a price history standpoint, ton of support here from a price history standpoint. So, I mean, like, if you saw Pengu at 2.5 cents, it'd be a very, very, very interesting buy, because the Pudgy Penguins group, like their brand, their business, they're only just continuing to expand and absolutely take over. So yeah. What are my opinions on SWI? I like SWI. I was a little worried with SWI over the past like 9 months, like the first 6 months of that 9 months, if that makes sense. I was a little worried about SWI because if you go to DeFi Llama, am I still sharing my screen here? No. I don't know why I stopped. If my screen would work. Here we go. Wonderful. Ugh, my internet's slowing down. But the thing is SWI's price was going up while the amount of money being put on its ecosystem was falling a lot. That has stopped. So what I was looking at here is I was watching in September of 2024, and let me show you guys here on TikTok. It's nice having Doug or like Evan or Alex, because we can help each other out with screen shares. But when it's solo, I'm juggling a little bit. So you can see here, and this is the amount of SWI, the token itself on SWI. And in September 2024, it was really falling. The fundamental adoption of SWI was doing terrible. However, the price was doing phenomenal. So I was getting kind of worried. But in the beginning of this year, you can see a steady, healthy increase. This dip, I imagine, was due to, I want to make sure I'm not getting the ecosystem wrong, but there was not a hack, but there was an exploit in the code of the biggest decentralized exchange at the time. Oh my God, how am I forgetting the name of it? I can't remember. Anyways, and that resulted in a big loss of TVL, but then it recovered super, super, super quickly. So I'm not concerned about SWI's. Oh, Cetus, that was it. That was right. Yeah, it was Cetus. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. So I'm not concerned anymore about SWI from a fundamental adoption standpoint. That, and also, when a coin in a bull run grabs a certain amount of mind share of the crypto space, people just keep talking about it all the time. And I think it's in large part because like a lot of people buy higher up and they want to pump coin, so that when it does well, everybody starts talking about it who maybe had higher buys, and then that drives the market upwards. It's probably definitely some of that. But when one coin does really well, people get all absorbed in that coin. Sweet is one of those coins where even if like the fundamental adoption wasn't doing great, which it was getting weaker, the price of the coin was still doing phenomenally. That's one of the reasons why in the crypto space, the number one most important thing when you're in a bull run, when you're in a consolidation bear run, the only thing that matters is fundamental adoption. But when you're in a bull run, the only thing that matters, not the only thing, but the thing that matters the most is, are people talking about it? Do you believe the August 1st tariffs are priced in? I hope I asked that question right. Yeah, you did. Tariffs are supposed to go back online. I mean, they're online now, but tariffs are set to dramatically increase across a whole swath of countries starting August 1st. The thing is I just don't think anybody believes Trump anymore at this point with regards to the tariffs that he has. The other thing too is I think mentally people, were hit with 100% tariffs or 90% tariffs, and it doesn't seem like the reality of the situation is going to be anything like that. So I think the market is more so looking at the tariff situation like a little bit like the boy cried wolf. Like, I mean, the tariffs are still way bigger now than before Trump came into office. Like, a 30% or a 40% tariff. Yes, it's not the 125% tariff he was talking about at first, but it's still a massive increase in tariffs. The thing is I just don't think the market cares that much about it anymore as compared to the markets looking forward to rate cuts. Because the markets are like, all right, cool, tariffs going to eat into profit margins, yada, 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 and those costs get pushed onto consumers, and we're going to have to rearrange our supply chains, and that's going to be expensive, and it's going to set some companies behind. But that doesn't matter as much as global liquidity go up, That and also tariffs and a desire to boost manufacturing, and you want to make your debt less expensive. You do that by devaluing the dollar. And if you're going to devalue the dollar, the last thing in the world you want to do as an investor is hold the dollar, which means you have to invest your dollars or change them into other currencies. The best things to invest at times of de-dollarization is store values, typically gold, silver, copper, Bitcoin now as another option. So that's just the market we're in. So I think people are more so looking forward to rate cuts combined with, hey, these tariffs are going to continue to devalue the dollar. So too is our spending. And, you better be invested. Otherwise, you're fucking not going to be able to buy anything. Question from Mike's. When do you think the pullback is? In September or October? No major pullback? Well, here's the thing. If you're holding altcoins, there will always be a major pullback. Also, a major pullback is always subjective, right? Like what's major to you? If you've been in the crypto space for as long as I have in 2017, major is like 50% or more. That's major. From the world of stocks, anything more than like 10% is kind of like, your heart is giving you palpitations, right? So it's all subjective. I made a video today talking about how I believe Bitcoin is in overall an 8-year bull run, probably a little bit less, because that's what gold did when its ETF came out. Those 8 years started at the end of, or the beginning, but when in 2023 did the ETF come out? Came out January 2024. So that would be a bull run to 2032, but probably a little bit less because that's what gold did. But gold still had corrections of a 30% correction, a 25% correction, a 15% correction. Bitcoin, since the ETF came out, has had a 30% correction and a 32% correction. So a major pullback, sure, you could still see Bitcoin go down 40% or 30% or 50%. I think the days of Bitcoin going down by 80% are gone and done. Altcoins, though, you'll still have altcoins go down like 99%. Not your Ethereums, not your Solanas, probably not your XRPs, probably not, I mean, I won't include Cardano in that mix. But we'll see. Performance issues from DeFi Llama. Okay, maybe that's too hard on my RAM for some reason. I don't know. Weird. But anyway, so I think you're going to see like a very large bull market for any coin that has a spot ETF attached to it that has a very attractive APY. Ethereum could be very, very attractive because that's where BlackRock's building, and then you have your 3% interest that you earn from the year on staking when staking gets turned on. So I think people will be interested in that. I think people will be very interested in Solana because you can use Marinade to get 8% to 9% staking. I think a lot of people are going to be very interested in that. And then people will be interested in Bitcoin because it's like the OG. It's the digital gold, right? So for coins that can get a popular ETF attached to it, like I think those three will, they might not have those major corrections. Ethereum and Solana might not have those anything bigger than like a 60% correction again. We'll see. We'll see how what the interest is in those staking ETFs. If the Ethereum ETF for the past few weeks is anything to go by, guys, we had like a $700 million day for the Ethereum ETF. That's a phenomenal day for Bitcoin. The average was $29 million a day for the Ethereum ETF. That's crazy talk, right? And it doesn't even have staking yet. It's just speculation that staking is going to be turned on for the Ethereum ETF. It's smart money, in my opinion, just getting positioned to get ready for the SEC saying, hey, ETH ETF with staking turned on. By the way, if you want to know what the timeline of that is, it's most likely going to be between September to November of this year. Those are the last two big dates where the Ethereum ETF can be approved, September and November, just FYI. So I think it's a lot of people just getting set up for it. Also, Hyperliquid, fucking phenomenal. Any thoughts on keeping and staking XRP versus taking solid profits this bull run and dealing with taxes? But you can't stake XRP. You can you? I'm not an XRP holder, but no, you can't stake XRP, can you? I just want to check. Can you? You can't stake XRP. Yeah, no, XRP doesn't stake. I was like, wait, am I crazy? Yeah, you can't stake XRP. But you could probably take it to a lending protocol and earn interest off of it. An XRP ETF has been approved, right? No, Crypto Boat, it has not yet. Maybe one in another country has. Oh, Eric asked me on YouTube. Sorry, guys. Wait, so you're not taking profits on Sol? No. I buy Solana and Bitcoin every single day, just with like coffee money. It goes in, and then I get a big paycheck, and it goes into Bitcoin and Solana, and then I take that Solana and I take it to Marinade and I stake it, and I also stake some Marinade on Coinbase because even though the rewards aren't as good, I just like to be a little bit diversified, and I just want to be positioned for when the Solana staking ETF goes live, because it is my speculation that the Solana ETF, that's a spot ETF with staking. I know there's one out, but it's a terrible product. I forget the company that makes it. It's a bad product. No one uses it. No one cares. When like BlackRock and Fidelity issue it, I think people are going to be more interested in the Solana one because they're like, oh, the people who don't know anything about crypto are going to say, hey, BlackRock sales rep, I want to buy some altcoins too. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. We have Ethereum and Solana. They go, oh, what's the difference? They go, oh, this one offers 3% APY. This one offers 8% APY. Also, Ethereum does XYZ. Solana does XYZ. And I think the people who don't know anything about crypto go, I don't care. 8% APY, sign me up for Solana. Like, that's all they're going to care about. So I think you're going to have the Solana ETF outperform the Ethereum ETF. I think the Ethereum ETF is still going to do very, very, very well because BlackRock is financially incentivized to make it do very well because BlackRock's building on Ethereum, right? It's my personal thought. So I'm just buying Solana to be prepared for that. So if I buy Solana at the top of this recent run, I don't give a single flying fuck. I'm just taking that, gonna go stake. I believe Solana will be higher than where it is today. So I just buy it every single day, along with Bitcoin, and the same amount too. But I have a much bigger Bitcoin bag because I've been buying Bitcoin for years and years and years and years. Do you think they'll turn on ETH staking for California? As of now, no staking in Cali. You guys don't have Ethereum? Are you talking with like Coinbase or a centralized exchange? I'm in Massachusetts, so I don't have to deal with that. But staking ETH products, California. It would suck if you guys don't. I know New York's a little bit of a bitch with it. You can stake. Okay, so yes, you can stake cryptocurrency in California, but the availability and specific methods may be limited due to ongoing regulatory actions. Coinbase, a major cryptocurrency exchange, has faced restrictions on its staking services in California and other states, but staking is still possible through other platforms. Coinbase has faced legal challenges in California, New Jersey, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Interesting. I feel like Wisconsin would be pretty chill. So no, it doesn't seem like you can stake Coinbase on or stake Ethereum on Coinbase, but you can take your Ethereum and go to Lido Finance. You can go stake there. There's a whole bunch of staking platforms you can use through decentralized finance to go earn some interest on your ETH. So I would definitely advise going and taking a look at that. Also, good time to mention, if you guys want help or resources and trying to figure out how the hell do you go and stake safely without falling into scams and making mistakes, head on over to the riseupmorningshow.com. We have resources there that are there to purchase, but you can also get into the Discord community, start asking questions. We have a bunch of people, including ourselves, that can help you. And I do want to note that if you guys may have noticed, we are not running the morning show. It's just me for this week, for this episode of Market Watch, because we are working on a number of business fronts for the show and the company, but we are also trying to get the last bits and pieces of Circle updated. If you don't know what Circle is, it's like, imagine if Discord was good. Imagine if Discord was easier to navigate and you could actually find shit that you were looking for. That's Circle. Also, way more security, less scammers. There have been some people on our Discord that have been scammed of people pretending to be us, which sucks. Security has way more security protocols, Circle has way more security protocols. So we're looking to have that be set up either by the end of this week or by the end of the following week, but we'll get the majority of work done here. So there'll be a great new home for the Rise Up Discord community, and then we'll start porting people over. So we're excited to announce that. Also, is Circle going to be free? Circle is free. It's not free for us. It's actually very expensive for us. But it's going to be free for you guys. We do have memberships also for the Rise Up community, where if you purchase it, you get major discounts on any of the courses that we have, any of the digital assets that we have, as well as some other benefits too that we will turn back on once we have Circle going. But more information on that later. Also, Mugrowicz, I'm gonna have to mute you if you keep blowing up the TikTok stream, dude. But do I have a price for Solana at the end of the bull run? No, I don't. And honestly, I don't really care. If I'm up X amounts of percentage points, I sell. I don't care, nor do I look for like a specific price. I don't care what the price of Bitcoin is. I don't care what the price of Solana is. I look at how much of a percentage my portfolio is up. I take profits. I haven't taken any profits on Bitcoin. That's because I just think Bitcoin will get into the multiple hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars long term. It's a part of my retirement strategy. I'm not looking to make short-term moves in my retirement strategy. So that's that, someone just asked for ETH. I happen to have a price target there in the short term for Solana, which is $220. And in the midterm, by midterm, I mean like a year or two, $8,000 for ETH, possibly higher. We'll see what happens. What do I think about Morpho? Emily and Mia, I made a video updating about Morpho. Funny fact, on my last profile page, I was the TikTok influencer who discovered Morpho and blew it up on everybody's channels. I was also the same person who did that for Aerodrome, 2023, when Aerodrome was 5 cents. And I was watching Morpho, I think it was at 30 cents, and told everybody about it at 50 cents. And I had an opportunity to buy it at 30 cents and didn't do it. I think it got down to even lower than that. Regardless, I put out a video a week ago providing an update on everything that Morpho has done in 2025. It's really impressive. What Morpho has accomplished in 2025 makes me think that it's the most undervalued crypto in all of cryptocurrency. Like, I actually really mean that, except for maybe Solana. I think Solana just deserves to be much higher. Basically, the gist is Morpho has started to become absolutely critical infrastructure for the DeFi space. Like Compound uses them, Aave uses them. I think Uniswap uses them as well. Katana uses them, the big, the DeFi darling for Polygon, even though they're their own thing. But they're becoming critical infrastructure, kind of like in the same way ChainSwap is, but far more exciting in my personal opinion. The thing that's really exciting though is that they upgraded to version 2 of Morpho. And so what that has done is the most exciting thing in my personal opinion is it has given them 2 different security credentials needed to be adopted by institutions. Institutional adoption is the hottest name in the game right now. So they're putting a lot of effort to be ready to be used by traditional financial firms, your BlackRocks, your Fidelities, your Vanguards, your those guys. And all you need is one announcement that says they are going to be utilizing Morpho in BlackRock's Biddle or other things, right? And Morpho has shown the ability to take their technology and put it into other DeFi solutions built on Ethereum. I just mentioned like 4 or 5 of them, right? BlackRock's building on Ethereum with Biddle. Morpho, key infrastructure, applying security protocols to be able to be used by traditional financial firms. Writing's on the wall for me. Marinade also in the same way, although I'm not necessarily interested in their token platform, but them as a business, oh boy, very interested in Marinade as a business. Hang on a second, lost focus here. Then we're back. The other thing too with Morpho that was nice is they transitioned from a for-profit company into a non-profit company. And what that does is it aligns the incentives of the owners of Morpho to not just take their tokens and dump on the market because they're a nonprofit. So it's just nice to see the incentives of executive leadership line up a little bit more closely with what the goals are of investors. We want the price of Morpho to go up. The people who run Morpho don't really care too much about that. They just want like the business to continue running and continue expanding and providing value and all that kind of stuff. And if the token price goes up, cool, great, grand, wonderful. More people know about Morpho. They like that. But otherwise they don't really care too much. We as investors do. With Morpho now being a nonprofit, there's less of a conflict of interest between those two groups. So it's easier to be more bullish on Morpho. Wouldn't that be great? XRP. But luckily the community of XRP is so great. The selling by Ripple doesn't matter at all, apparently. I'm only going to be doing a short episode here. We're going to have 10 more minutes left. And I'll field some questions from you guys. Is Morpho on Base? Yes, it is. It's also on Ethereum mainnet, but you'll want it on Base. It's cheaper. Thoughts on DAVO? I don't know what DAVO is. I don't know what it is. I apologize. What chart do you typically use to make target price predictions? Well, it depends on the asset I'm looking at. But if you're talking about crypto, always start by looking at Bitcoin first. Look at Bitcoin on long-term time frames, and then go down to the daily. Don't go down to anything less than the hourly unless you're like a legit, very serious day trader. Then once you have a good idea, you think what Bitcoin's doing, go and take a look at the altcoin you're looking at. Hey, sunglasses. What's your view on Peak and Blast? I feel like I don't like Blast. I've looked into all these cryptos before, and if I erased it out of my mind, it's typically not something that grabbed my attention. That's another reason why it's nice to have Alex or Evan on, because they'll be like, yeah, we do this. B, did you buy Circle? Actually, that is a great question. No, I did not. But I absolutely will. I just don't think it's hit my price range yet. No, it hasn't hit my price range yet. My price range for Circle is hang on a second. Why didn't this work? My price range is between $143 and $132. The reason why is that there's a gap on the Circle chart. And also the thing is guys, when companies go public, the people who owned shares, like who worked as the company, can't sell for, it depends on the company, but it's either 90 days or 180 days after the company goes, has been public. And Circle's only been out for 30 days right now. So, you could have a really good buying opportunity for Circle in another 60 days or potentially in almost half a year, because then the people who have the most shares are the people who were working for Circle for years, investing. I call them seashells. My brother and I always call like the stocks we have in companies we work for seashells. But your private equity, which then turns into stocks. None of those people have been able to dump yet. So I will wait until that happens. There's a gap all the way down at $135. So I think that one day we'll have it there. And when it does, I would love to buy it. Wait, Dent? Wall Street 55. People are talking about Dent again? Wait a minute. Dent was a 2017 coin. There was Dentacoin too. Dentacoin was different from Dent. Dent was a mobile. It was like, what was it? I made a bunch of money on that coin in 2017. But that coin should be a totally dead project. Wait a second. Oh my God. I haven't thought about this coin in forever. I remember I found out about it on Reddit and I knew nothing about it, but I was like, oh, this seems like a good coin. And then I bought it. Is this the same Dent? It has to be. It has to be. Wait. Launched in 2017, Dent is a revolutionary digital mobile operator offering eSIM cards. That's right, mobile data plans. Yes, it was like the first coin to offer mobile data plans. Dude, oh my God, I totally forgot about this. I went to bed and I woke up with a 10x. And I was like, Reddit is the greatest. And then I didn't sell it for forever. And then I think I only like tripled my money on it. But still, I mean, it was great. It worked out. But I think that was one of 2 coins that I actually made money on when I first entered the market in 2017. The other one was Engine Coin. But yeah, I rode that bag up and rode it back down. Oh, man. Dude, Dow, thanks for the blast. Oh, I totally forgot about Dent. Oh, my God. I feel, let's see. I was 24. I was 24. You gave me 24-year-old energy, man. 32. Let's see a few more. Remember Zill? Oh yeah, dude, I remember Zill. Zbek's a fucking killer project right now, dude. Zbek's doing phenomenal. I think Zbek's also very undervalued, mainly because they're too early to actually get genuine adoption for their product, which is streaming payments. No one's really going to be using that yet, but in like 3 years, probably. And right now, Zbek's the clear leader for it. It's the only one that's interoperable. It's on Solana. It's on Binance. It's going to be on EVM. VeChain. Panda. All this memory lane. VeChain is the project that was like, hey, we're going to do this thing. We're going to revolutionize supply chains. And then they did it and they got adoption. And everyone's like, now what? And then VeChain was like, we did it. What are you talking about? We're done. They just did the thing they said they were going to. It's just no longer in vogue and exciting. But unfortunately, even though VeChain's cool, it's not really like being talked about a lot. I'm sorry. You were just about to offload your Zbek because it's up 30%. Hey man, pay yourself. If you're up 30%, guys, remember, the stock market, if it returns 8% to you, is seen as a very good year. You're up 30% on a position you've had for maybe a couple months, maybe even just a few days. Take a little bit off the table. Just pay yourself a tiny, tiny, tiny little baby bit, just so that if it all crashes the next day, you made a little bit of money, right? And you're in a little bit of a better position. Guys, stocks are for my dad. Hey, if you can buy a stock before it gets into the S&P 500, and Circle, which is a crypto-related stock, Strategy, MicroStrategy, and Coin. No, Coinbase is in the S&P 500 now. If you can get it a stock before it gets in the S&P 500 and you really think it's going to, I think Circle absolutely will. You can buy a stock before it gets into the automatic bid scenario of S&P 500 stocks, because people buy S&P 500 stocks all the time with their 401ks, mutual fund. I mean, just, and then just automatically buys those stocks. It's an incredibly profitable opportunity. That, and also in 2024, MicroStrategy outperformed Bitcoin. So like, stocks can still make you quite a bit of money, guys. I am going to end the stream there because I am tired. My throat's getting a little scratchy, and I got to do some work with Evan and Alex in the morning to make sure we get some things set up for you guys at the Rise Up Morning Show's Discord. But guys, remember, if you need resources, if you need some courses on trading, if you want some courses on how to use DeFi projects and how to get your wallet set up and all that kind of stuff, we have that available at the riseupmorningshow.com. And if you want to hop into the Discord as well, the Discord's totally free. And you can start building a network with developers. You can start building a network with venture capitalists. You can build a network with whales. You can build a network with a dude down the street who works a couple of jobs and has a little bit of money to just invest in crypto and is trying to learn more about this new technology. Be they 18 years old, 35 years old, or an 82-year-old woman just trying to set a little bit of money aside for their grandkids, right? We have an amazingly diverse community of people here who are all really dope. We've met some of them in real life too. Super, super, super great people who are looking to help. So if you're trying to find people who can help you navigate this very confusing space, myself, Evan, Alex, Doug, we're all in there. We have a bunch of great people there to help you as well, for you to build a network and community with. So with that, everybody, Thank you so much for coming in tonight, and I'll give you my usual sign off. Do good things, be good people. Make a bunch of money. See you guys later.